Hi everyone, welcome back to our podcast Everything Product. We talk about latest technologies with a product mindset. This is Phani. I'm a product manager at a startup.
I'm Sid Saladi. I'm a product manager working for Best Buy.
Great. For everyone who's watching, if you want to watch a lot of like product management videos about interviews, about different principles, etc., don't forget to subscribe to our channel Everything Product. We started a new series about interviews recently, and we have also created a video about product design and how to answer that question. Um, if you want to watch that video first before looking at this interview, go through that video. I'll add the link on the top. In this specific podcast or the video, what we are planning to do is I'm going to interview Sidhu about a product design question. I'll let him go through the entire flow and then I'll give him feedback on what he could have improved. So, starting with the video, let me put my interviewer hat. So, Sidhu, let me start with the question, right? Let's imagine that you're a product manager for an imaginary product called Facebook Travel. Tell me how you would improve it.
Sure. So, let me maybe gather my thoughts and get back to you. I'll take a minute. Sure. So, I have a couple of questions before we get to answering this question. I'm assuming this is a product which doesn't exist, right? And this is, whole product, not a feature, or it could be a feature inside the Facebook app too. But we can maybe determine it as we go through answering the questions here. And do we have any demographic or regional constraints for this question?
I think to start with, let's stick to United States for now.
Sure. Yeah, let's maybe stick to that. And are we specific on should it be developed on mobile or web, or can we answer it as we go?
Given the way the demographics are going, probably stick to like native mobile apps.
Okay, sure, makes sense. And is there any other data that I need to be aware of, or should I make my assumptions as I go?
Nothing specific. Yeah, feel free to like make some assumptions.
Okay, perfect. And do we have any specific product goal, or do you want me to come up with that goal?
Come up with that as well. Like imagine that you're the product manager. You can decide the overall goal.
Okay, makes sense, Funny. So the way which I would want to answer this question is first I'll basically we'll go and see what the Facebook or Meta's vision is. After which we'll see get into the strategic goal for the specific product, and then maybe we'll see what could be a good product goal, and then we'll get into users and segmentations, after which we'll prioritize the users and then get into user needs for that specific user, after which again we'll prioritize the user needs and then get into different solutions, out of which we'll pick one solution, and then maybe we'll talk about success metrics if we have time, and then I'll summarize at last. So this is the process which I would want to follow. Any questions there?
No, that's great. Probably let's have some time constraints as well. Like typically an interview could be like half an hour to like 45 minutes. For the sake of the video, let's stick to like 20 minutes or so.
Okay, perfect. Sure. I'll make sure I keep that in mind. Sure. So, before we get started, right? Facebook's or Meta's vision is give people the power to build community and bring the world closer together. So let's maybe keep that in mind and build products that aligns with the overall mission of what Meta is. And for this product, when we look at the strategic goal, I would say because this is a travel product, maybe I'd say let's bring people closer together through sharing memories by traveling, right? Something like that is a strategic goal where we'll create a product from scratch. And for the product goal, right, I would say Facebook is already an established product, and there's like I think, if I'm not wrong, 2.5 to 3 billion users already. So that's almost I think half of the world's population. So there's enough people there. So maybe acquisition might not be their primary area, but I would want to improve the engagement of people who are already existing on Facebook. Also, with all the competition out there, like there's TikTok, Snapchat, and all of that, there's more and more people moving towards other platforms. So maybe creating more value added features inside Facebook would retain the user base already existing in Facebook and kind of engage with other users inside Facebook much more. So I would maybe say engagement is our product goal here. Does it sound good?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, perfect. Now let's maybe jump into what could be the different users using this product. I'll take a minute and gather my thoughts and get back to you. Okay. So I would want to segment people who travel into three different segments here. So there could be married people, couples who travel together, right? So that could be one segment. There could be family with kids, right? So the couples which I talked might just be like newly married couples, but the second segment could be, older families with more kids and a bigger size and all of that stuff. And there could also be friends who travel together, and friends could be, right, even married. Like there could be friends of school friends, college friends, office friends, and all of that stuff who would want to travel together. This is more of group travel. And out of these three, I would maybe subsegment friends into three more categories, where friends could be college going kids, right, who are in the same dorm, living together in the same area, neighborhood, and all of that stuff. There could also be another segment who have graduated and are busy professionals, young busy professionals. So that could be one segment. There could be another segment who are more older, right, are maybe at the end of their retirement and who are not that mobile, uh, would want to travel. So these are all the segments which we have here. uh, so out of all of these things, I'd say, as we said before, our engagement is one of our product goals, and also the strategic goal is to help people kind of get closer through sharing memories through travel and all of that stuff. Maybe I would want to pick people who are busy professionals, and who want to travel together. And the reason I would want to pick the busy professionals is, as we already said, right, there are other apps which are a competition to Facebook, where Facebook is actually losing all of this segment area. Maybe I would want to attract all of these with the specific feature through travel. Is that okay if I pick this specific segment?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, perfect. And to be specific on the criteria, right? So let's maybe say that these users have unmet needs. That's why they have been moving into other platforms, and this could be a strategic way to attract them back.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so now I'll take a minute and come up with the user needs for this specific user. Okay, so when we look at the user journey, right, we are saying that our user is young, busy professionals. So imagine a group of friends who may be college graduates, right? And now they are all working in different states, in different places, and they all want to plan a trip together. So I think the first thing is, people might be uh, all get together on a phone call and say, okay, where shall we plan to go next? And then each person says that, suggest some places, and then other people come in and say, okay, I've already visited this place, or the flights are very costly there, or this is a place which is very far away from me, and all of that stuff. Once people agree on the place which they're going to visit, then it's more about planning, where to stay, what all things to see. And also people need to know when others are coming, so that they can pick up things. And also I think that's one. And once everybody gather together, it's about sharing, right, sharing, taking pictures, and then tagging people on Facebook and all of that stuff. And once people go back again, it's about sharing the images and all of that stuff. So there's a lot of things involved when you say people staying in different places want to travel together to have fun, right? Any questions, or do you want me to get into the user needs?
No, this is great. It's good to hear the overall customer journey, like what are all the pain points they go through. But sounds good. Continue.
Sure. So I think I'll take a quick 20 seconds to come up with some user needs, and then we can get into those things. Okay. So as we talked about, I think we touched about all of these before, but I would say I would want to list five of them. The first one is picking the place, right? I think that's the biggest hurdle, right? There are a lot of variables into it. Like people, again, I know people might have visited it before. It's too far away, flights and all of that stuff, and and people, some people might have. And if you're visiting a mountain place, motion sickness and a lot of different variables where it changes by person and the team you are with. And there's also uh, you're not the scheduling piece, right? Like when people are leaving, coming, and all of that stuff. And the third one is sharing memories, right? It's not easy to share with everybody who's in the group and just share their photos and all of that stuff, because when we go to trips, right, there's either two or three people who are taking most of the pictures, but definitely people wouldn't want everybody's pictures, right? Not they would want only pictures they are in and all of that stuff. So that's also another difficult piece. And I think the fourth one is more about efficiency. So all of this process happens through a lot of different tools and a lot of different places. So it's not an efficient process, but it's just people sitting together trying to figure things out. So I'd say these are the four user needs which people have when they travel as a friends group, and are also busy working professionals. Any questions there?
No, this sounds good. I think primarily you're focusing on like them collaborating to make sure they plan for a trip and then eventually like book a trip and go for it. Okay, sounds good.
Sure. Yeah. So I'll take a minute and maybe prioritize user needs, and then we can get into solutions.
Actually, before you go into that, right? I want to like ask you a question like who else do you think there are customers for this? Like you're basically thinking about a travel product, right? um do you want to think about like the other end, like how do we actually get the flight details, how do we actually partner with the flights and stuff? Do you think we should be focusing on any of that, or do you think we should be focusing specifically on the end customers?
I would say we could, that maybe would come in the solutioning phase. I'd say we could do some of that, but I'd say I would want to maybe pick at least the solutions which are quick wins to start with, and then maybe add this as we go. I would say third-party integrations might take time, but I think we'll maybe evaluate that when we get into solutions, if that's okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, I'll take a minute. Give me a second. Okay. So out of all of these things, I feel that the biggest pain point here is picking the place, right? So I think I've seen a lot of times where we plan with friends, but most of the time it stops at the place level, where because some people are not satisfied with what the place is, might not, it's too far away and all of that stuff. So maybe I would want to pick that because that has a bigger pain for a lot of people, and that's also starting of the user journey. So I'd maybe pick that and solve for that, and then as we go, we can add more and more user needs to the product. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Sure. And also, I would maybe say we'll have a vision for the product which we are creating, that's bringing people together through travel. So that's the overall project. So we want to bring as many people as possible uh, through, making it easy for people to travel. That's the vision of the overall product. So I'll take a minute and come up with solutions, and then we can walk through the solutions.
Yep.
Okay. So I have three solutions which maybe I'll go through. The first solution is, so what we can do is we can actually create a feature inside the Facebook Messenger. So Messenger is a standalone app where friends talk to each other, have conversations and all. So what we could do is we could give people to create a group, travel group, right? And that would basically add everybody who could be interested in coming to that specific trip or not. Then we basically then there would be an admin who's actually gives people the ability, or maybe creates the set of preferences which everybody would want to put together. Once he sets the preferences, then these basically a kind of a form opens up in all the different chat windows for all the people, all the people who are involved in the group. And maybe it could have budgets, location, time to travel, days, and all of that stuff. And also maybe it could also look at the ask for places which they would want to, and all of that stuff. Once people enter all of that information, then the group gives people recommendations, right? It would give generate an automatic itinerary of this is the place which you could visit, or maybe give them three options of these three are the top places which you could visit. And give them an itinerary of, maybe these are the top 10 best places which you have visited, and these are the places which you can stay, and all of that. Develop a complete itinerary of all of these things, and maybe once the itinerary is developed, people can go through that and select it. So when they select it, based on the poll, then you finalize on that. So I feel that this solution can solve all the constraints that are involved in picking a place, and everybody coming to one consensus that okay, come, let's go. All the hassle, Facebook has taken everything from us, and we are just going there and having fun and enjoying. So that could be one of the solutions. The second one is more of instead of the person even creating a group, right, adding questions and all of that stuff, what we could do is we could look at all the, because Facebook has a lot of data, people do check-ins and a lot of that stuff. So we could basically look at all the data and see how people are traveling together and all of that stuff, and look at places they have visited, the place which they are at, and who are their close friends and all of that stuff. And then maybe create recommendations of which would be the place they could go with, also recommending them with all the friends who they want to go to. I think that would be a really good product, which would actually take the hassle of people doing all the process, and just Facebook recommending, saying that okay, hey said, you can actually go to Las Vegas because most of your friends haven't visited this place, and all of you are actually maybe 30 miles away, not 30, 300 or 400 miles away from, and the tickets are very pricey. So that could be a product which you can do. That's another solution. And the third solution is, maybe I'm trying to come up with a moonshot idea here, where you'll have metaverse, and everybody wears the metaverse headset, and Facebook recommends them 10 places, and they actually try to visit them virtually and see which place they like, and then people select one of the places which they would do. So these are the different solutions which I have. Any questions there?
No, this is great. Which solution do you think we should pick?
Yeah, so I would maybe start, right. I would want to prioritize based on the level of effect and the impact which it would create, right. So when we are saying the level of effect and impact, right, we want to solve for the user need of people, removing the hassle of people picking a place. So that's the main thing which we are trying to solve here. So I would say the first solution, I kind of like the first solution, but the first solution has a lot of work that is involved, like people going and creating a group, creating the preference list, and all of that stuff. I prefer the second solution because Facebook already has the data. It's more about learning who are the closest friends to you, and which places they have visited, and all of that stuff, and kind of creating a ready-made suggestion to that specific person. And this is basically creating a suggestion for every person, and each person could start a trip with their friends and all of that stuff. I feel that this is easier to implement, with the level of effect, and also it actually is impactful to the user need which we have. And I would also say that this would basically tie back to the overall strategic goal which we had, bringing people closer together through sharing memories and also travel, because we are recommending people to travel through this. And also I think this again ties back to the overall company's goal, which is giving people the power to build community and bring the world closer together.
Yeah.
Sure. So
Why not your moonshot idea?
moonshot idea, I'd say, yeah, we could get started, right? So I think the technology is not not here yet, right? So yeah, we have something in the metaverse, but there's a big I think a cost factor there, where everybody needs a headset, right? Imagine, we are saying that people are fighting around on the ticket prices, and how far is the place, and now you're all adding another cost variable where you have to buy a 300 $400 headset into it, right? So I'd say maybe if everybody has a headset like a phone, That could be an option, but maybe I'll eliminate that option for now.
Okay, that sounds great.
Sure. So I'll maybe I won't spend much time here, but we can quickly touch on the success metrics. So I would maybe pick the number of places traveled, as we said that we want people to travel and share memories and get closer together. So the number of people, places traveled could be one of the success metrics, and also the conversations which people are having around this app could be another, where we are saying, okay, people might be talking maybe once a month before, but now through the specific app, people are talking more frequently and having more conversations. So that could be another success metric that you want to measure.
Got it. Okay.
So if you're good, I'll maybe go ahead and summarize everything for you.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Sure. So first, we talked about the overall company's goal, and then we went and said we picked a strategic goal where we are bringing people together through travel and sharing memories. After which we said we'll pick engagement as a product goal, and then we went into different user segments, out of which we picked young busy professionals, and then we looked at certain user needs, and we picked the user need on removing the constraints of picking a place, out of which we again said that we'll be designing a product with a vision of bringing people together to travel. And then we went through different solutions, and we picked the solution which actually looks at all the data which people put in Facebook, like check-ins and places visited and closer friends and all of that, and give them recommendations to travel. And then basically after which we talked about success metrics. Yeah, that's it.
That makes sense. Thank you for summarizing, Sidhu.
Hopefully I didn't take a longer time here, Phani. I know that I was taking more breaks here, but yeah.
No, that's great. I think you're on time, maybe a little bit here and there, but your process was overall good. Yep.
Feedback time.
Cool. Let me take my interviewer hat out, right? And then let me go through the flow. So overall, like positive, Sidhu. You were excellent in terms of the flow. Like you were clearly asking me questions to see what my thought process is. Is there anything else that you want to focus on? You have always made sure throughout the interview, you always made sure I'm on the same page with you. And if there is anything else that I need to add, you made sure to like probe me those questions. That's a really good thing that an interviewee has to do all the time. The second one is you started with the overall vision to say, hey, this is the vision for the company. So I think we should align towards that. Whatever is the product that we are building, it should all align to that. So that's an excellent thing that you did. And one more thing you did basically is defining the metrics the goals at different levels. Like this is the overall vision, this is the product goal, etc. So that way it was very clear for me and it was easy to relate where you're getting to. The next one you went to is users. I think you did a good job there, but one more thing that you could do is be a little bit more concise. So
Okay.
when you talked about different user segments, you gave a lot of description for like some of it, but then eventually whether you picked that customer or not, it took some time for me to understand that. So you could be a little bit more concise there in terms of customers. And the next one is user needs. Actually, before I go to user needs, right? The users in itself, maybe you could have broadened your scope, because here you're specifically talking about the individual customers. When I think about a travel product, it's basically a two-way or even a three-way marketplace where Facebook as a company might have to like partner with others to actually build a product. And you're also giving an option for the end customer. And another thing that probably you could have thought through is the travel agencies, because the travel agencies might be helping a lot of customer do this. So those guys might also be a customers for you where you can give these products.
Yeah, I
But
think that's a good point. So you're saying like more of airlines, models, all the people who are involved, right? So I was basically covering just the people who are traveling, but they touch base with all of these entities, right? So that makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, for this use case, it was good that you focused on customer. But in interview, if you actually showed to the interviewer that you can think beyond end customer and you could think of all the other aspects, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that's a
Going to
great
the
point.
Yep. And going to the user needs, right? You actually talked upon different kinds of user needs that a customer would have in terms of travel planning. That was awesome. And given that you made me walk through the user journey, right? I could actually relate to a lot of things that I do in my personal life as well. So that was awesome. And I like the way you picked up the user needs as well, because you picked up something that is like really painful for someone or something that you couldn't conclude on. So that was awesome. And then coming to the solutions, I like the way you thought through different kinds of solutions. One is where you brought up a collaboration aspect, where everyone can like come to a messenger, where they're working with the chatbot to like come to an itinerary. That's awesome. And the second one is a more simplified one, where you basically told, I'm going to look at the Facebook journey or like all the other activities that you do and recommend. And the third one is like a moonshot. Little bit more granular details about these situations would be helpful, because the first one, I love the idea where you're like bringing the collaboration. Your end metric is having that engagement. So by doing this, maybe you could have increased the engagement a lot between the friends within Facebook. So that
Mhm.
increases probably a lot of activity, and eventually they could have done a lot more things.
Yep.
And the second solution eventually helps in the customer's travel, but would it actually help in the engagement more than the first one? I don't know. Maybe you could have like gone into more details. But
Mhm.
I loved your moonshot idea. But I'm like, oh wow, because he's actually relating to the overall Facebook's thought process of metaverse and then having the headsets, etc. But I mean, if you're the product manager, you should totally try that idea. Everyone can sit in their own location and then walk through what, let's say, Glacier National Park or something like that, and do a hike together. That's amazing. Yep.
Yeah, and also thanks for pointing out. Like I actually was talking about trade-offs of one and two, but somehow I kind of forgot the third solution. I was like, okay, I'll just throw it throw it in for the sake of throwing it, but I won't consider it.
Yeah, that's also another thing, right? Because
Yeah.
actually, if you told me that, hey, I would pursue on that metaverse idea given our focus on the Facebook, I would have bought that as well.
Yeah.
But it's again like it's the thought process. And finally, thinking the success metrics as well helped, right? But when you're thinking about the success metrics, you could have like compared between those two as well. But it's you gave me a good thought process that I'm going to measure this to see the success. That's awesome. And overall summary too, because as you have seen, like I'm not taking any notes or anything like that. So there could be different interviewers who could be doing like different kinds of things during the interview. So summarizing the overall solution really helped me as well. Overall, it was awesome, Sidhu. Like I could clearly understand where you are thinking, where you're going, etc. So that was awesome.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you.
And
Those old memories.
and for everyone who is watching, right, if you want to watch more interview videos like this, and if you want to watch more about like different kinds of product management topics, don't forget to subscribe to Everything Product. And thank you so much.
Subscribe, and share.